It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Welcome back to the program. We've got on the line State Representative John Eubanks is with us. John, thank you so much for coming back on, sir.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Hey, I wanted to have you on. We had you on a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about your bill to increase the scope of practice for optometrists. Well, now is the week. It's what they call Scope Week, I'm told, and there's going to be a lot of legislation about a lot of scope of practice issues coming up this week. What can you tell us about it?
Well, I know I've been concentrating on one bill, and I know that there's some others that have been filed, and they're going to be heard in the next few days or the coming weeks. And I'm anxious to get this bill in front of committee and get it debated and get it properly vetted, and then hopefully moved on to the floor.
Well, I definitely know. I saw the other day where you came to the floor of the House, and I think you were passing a resolution of some kind. I can't remember what it was, a congratulatory resolution of some kind. And you said this is not controversial. He said, and you said something like, not going to be able to say that for the rest of the legislation that I'm running. And so I thought that was good humor, and it kind of got a laugh from the chamber because I think everybody knows they're getting probably all kinds of phone calls saying that this one bill, to allow optometrists to do what they are trained to do is, the sky's going to fall.
Well, that's true. They've been inundated by both sides of the issue since the ISP was filed back in December, and it's just continued to heat up as we've gotten closer to Scope Week.
Can you tell us a little bit about this other bill? It was on the scorecard last week. You've got another bill, HB 1412. Which I think is fantastic. It would prevent public funds to pay for membership dues for a teacher or classified employee's professional organization. What makes you want to file that particular piece of legislation?
Well, you have public funds that are being used to pay the dues for a professional association, and that association in turn lobbies the legislature. Sometimes I think they've maybe gone a little too far in their approach, and I don't know if public funds should be used for that purpose.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're exactly right. I think this is a fantastic piece of legislation, but again, one that's probably going to get some pushback here. But one of the things that I have found, in covering what you guys do down there, is that it seems like government itself is almost a bigger lobby than the rest of the special interests that are down there, and that's just part of the way it is. But government seems to really lobby for protecting themselves, protecting government itself.
I think that probably is true to a large extent. Everybody protects the status quo. They don't like change. People don't like change as a rule, and once you have a certain turf or territory set out, you don't like anybody intruding on it.
That's exactly right. We're talking with State Representative John Eubanks. He's a Republican from Paris. And so, we have this, back to this scope of practice bill here. I think this is a larger issue for the people because what a lot of folks I don't think realize is when you have more people that are able to do, more professionals, more doctors, let's say optometrists, you have ophthalmologists that can do a procedure, and now this bill is going to allow optometrists to do a procedure that they're trained to do. That means you now have more professionals able to offer the service, which means more competition, which means more choice for the people. And that can also mean a lower price for the people. And that's one of the reasons I love this bill or any of these scope of practice bills, because it's really about more choice for your constituents.
I believe that's absolutely on target right there. My idea about this was to increase the emphasis or the access for the people of Arkansas to have this convenient for them to be able to get services within their own hometown, or at least a lot closer than what is currently available.
And so, but the other side says that, I mean, you know, it would be mean of me to say that they are anti-choice, anti more options for patients that need care. But to me, in opposing this bill, that kind of, I kind of want to put them in that category there. You know, I mean, I know they're going to say, well, the public safety, but I mean, come on, those arguments. It's not about the safety of the public. It's about protecting the bottom line for people who are, who already have the permission from the government to do these types of things.
Well, I think that's true to an extent. There's some misinformation out there. I keep going back to what Oklahoma's been doing for over 20 years now, and you have a track record, you have facts to back up what we're trying to do here in Arkansas. We've got the history to prove that these procedures are safe, that the optometrists are receiving the adequate training and education in order to perform these procedures. And Oklahoma has, I think, one of the best malpractice insurance rates in the country. So I think if there was any indication at all that if there was any problems, I think the insurance companies would be aware of them.
Hey, okay, so is any of this just a little discouraging to you, State Representative Eubanks, just in terms of this is actually a really subtle, small thing, and there's examples of this in a ton of other professions. I mean, that's why this is Scope Week, because everybody's going to try to pitch their, deregulation, hopefully, some sort of deregulation. And yet, you do get this giant pushback. I mean, it's hard to do even small things down there, isn't it?
That's correct. And as things evolve, as education gets better, as training gets better, there's going to be an overlap of the professions, and I think that's natural, and I think it should be allowed. After you go through the process of studying what you're trying to do, and if it's qualified, I think you ought to be able to allow to do it.
Mm-hmm. State Representative John Eubanks, real quick before we let you go, so when are you going to be running your bill to expand scope of practice for optometry?
Well, I think it's going to be first up in public health tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I have a special order of business and tried to schedule that so people would have plenty of time to prepare.
All righty. State Representative John Eubanks, we appreciate it, sir. Best of luck to you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Folks, we're going to take a break. Going to be back here in a minute.